Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the world premiere, first ever episode, Dads on Wrestling. I am one of your hosts for this show, JJ Williams, aka the Renegade of Wrestling.
And for those of you that don't know me, well, crawl from under your rock first for just 1 second. And I am Jeff Meacham, the host of Talk Wrestling on another website, which we'll plug in future dates, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And but JJ, called me up and said, Jeff, I don't see too many of this type of show out there. Dads, don't, give their perspective. Dads pretty much either sit there in front of their couches and go, that stuff's fake, kid. Go watch, tell their sons and daughters, it's fake anyway. Or they're at the live events acting worse than their kids.
It's very true.
Either way, there's no intelligent conversation coming from dads on wrestling. So I figured, you know what? Let's change that.
And with this modern era being a quote-unquote PG era, being all about the kids and kids-friendly and trying to rope the youth into watching what is essentially a very violent sport.
Yes.
We thought that we'd get together and over the coming weeks and months kind of get into how PG this really is. Looking at you, Vince.
Which is ironic because our first show was about not Vince, but
the other Vince.
Russo and everybody else.
And Dixie and Hulk.
Yes.
TNA. We are going to do a state of TNA address for you. And
the reason we're doing that is because we are fresh off the heels of, quite frankly, a pay-per-view that will drastically change the course of TNA, because Fortune had a goal in mind.
Yes,
Sunday night. Immortal had a goal Sunday night. Consolidate all the titles under their control, and they had it. They had it in the bag, man.
Until
the main event.
Which we'll get to
that
in a minute.
We'll get to that.
But first, let's run through the champions real quick.
Right.
Okay, you've got Abyss now, the new TNA television champion. Which, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm glad Abyss has a strap. Abyss has been with the company way too long.
Right.
He is a monster, and they've always overlooked him or just kind of used him as a transitional champion.
True.
I am very glad to see Abyss with gold. Let's see how long he holds it.
True, but let's look at it from this perspective, though. Had AJ not got hurt,
this is true.
It wouldn't have happened. AJ would have regained the television title Sunday night.
Which, in all honesty, I wouldn't be as happy about. I love AJ Styles to death.
We all do.
But he's been the champion like every single month throughout his entire run with TNA. He X Division, Tag Team, World Title, TNA Champion, NWA Champion. The list goes on and on. The dude's held every single belt. Even Jarrett has not done that.
Right.
AJ Styles has always got gold on his waist because he is simply phenomenal.
That's right.
So I don't think I'd have been as happy if AJ had walked out with the gold as I am about Abyss.
And also,
Abyss has kind of been there since the beginning too, and is constantly overlooked. It's kind of like the way they do Kane in WWE.
Very true.
They push him heavy as a heel, and then they let him get close to the title, and then they pull him back.
Right.
And then they push him to get close to the title, and then they pull him back.
Right.
Now Abyss finally has gold. Kazarian, our good buddy.
The coolest wrestler alive as voted by the fans of the Health Show.
That's right.
Tim B.
And the best around.
The best around, that's right.
None's going to ever keep you down, Kazarian.
Nothing.
X Division champion again. He hasn't held that title for years.
He hasn't had it for a good minute, that's for sure. And I just got to say, Frankie, I know you're not watching, but if you are watching, great pre-show interview with SoCal Val. They did an interview on TNA Wrestling YouTube.
Yeah, I missed it because I had to work, but
right.
NoDQ.com, your only source for wrestling news and rumors.
That's right. Well, it wasn't even on NoDQ.com. It was on TNA's YouTube. Val kept trying to ask him about the match at hand, and he kept talking about the shooting in Arizona, or he kept diverting poor Val. And at one point, he talked about the Falcons game in football, and she goes, "Well, I don't watch baseball." But anyway, I was like, "Oh, Val, that's Val."
Val is the epitome of epic fail.
Yeah.
I love her to death.
We love Val. We love Val.
I think Val would get the old school Jeff Meacham facepalm on that.
Yeah.
Got to bring the facepalm back at least for one episode on this one.
Exactly. It's not back all the time on Talk Wrestling. So
kudos to you on becoming the X Division champion again.
The only title change the only lack of title change that bothered me was Mickey and Mask.
True, but in TNA's defense, I'm a little over somebody from WWE getting fired or released, coming to TNA and getting a strap put on them.
Right.
I'm glad that they're waiting a little bit more so that when Mickey does finally get her strap, it means something.
I suppose.
I would rather them give it to her from Tara.
True, but you have to understand the way they've, in my opinion, the way they've set this up. Madison just kept throwing Tara in front of her and throwing Tara in front of her, and Mickey finally had to Thez press Tara off of the cage and practically break Tara's arm to shut her down.
Yeah.
That should have been like, okay, Tara's out of the way, Madison should just be rolling. That's just me. That's just me. And plus, Mickey should be, if anybody, Gail couldn't do it because Vince is an idiot. McMahon, not Russo, although Russo isn't. Gail should have been the one to do it, but if she can't, let Mickey be the one to be the first to win all of them, all three.
Yes.
And they didn't do it Sunday night, so bugs me, but whatever.
Beer Money has the tag titles again. Not impressed.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
I have nothing but the utmost respect for Robert Roode and James Storm.
Right.
But really, these guys have had a stranglehold on their tag team division for the better part of the last 2 years.
Right.
I'm over them as champions.
Well, nobody loves the Motor City Machine Guns more than me. They've been great to us going out to PWG.
Yes,
They've been great to, Alex Shelley looked right at my fiance and said, "You're cool," in the middle of a match. He got over the top rope and, kind of staggered up, looked at Jade, and Jade was clapping for him, and he goes, "You're cool." And again, whoop that ass. I don't even remember who he was working with. I don't even remember who he was working. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because Alex Shelley said Jade was cool.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing.
Yes.
But when a stated goal of the heel faction, the faction that's supposed to be ruling the company is, all the belts are ours, somebody's got to fall. Somebody's got to fall.
Yeah.
So the Machine Guns fall.
I just hope that Generation B is next in line.
That would be awesome.
The only problem is that both teams are heel. You need to turn one of the teams babyface.
Which, if of those two,
it's got to be Generation B.
Yeah, the Bucks. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Be.
Gotta be the Bucks.
I mean, how can you not be a babyface when you've got Tara as your cougar? I'm just saying.
That's right, baby.
Tara's a hot piece of ass.
Exactly.
Just throwing that out there.
Just out there,
Just
so
free throw. Yep.
And then it wasn't a title change, but there were two matches out there that kind of went to a complete clusterfuck of a finish.
Yeah,
Bubba
which
and
we
Devon,
knew they would anyways.
Yeah, Bubba and Devon ended in the DQ because Devon couldn't hold himself back, and Bubba, just got his ass whooped, and the referee disqualified Devon. They're going to go to probably lockdown and just beat the crap out of each other in a cage. Which, honestly, if you're going to break up the greatest tag team in modern history, or recent memory, I mean, let them go for a minute.
Yeah. And it won't just be inside a cage. It's got to be tables.
Tables.
In a cage.
Or TLC. TLC scene. There you go. Just break out the
Something
TLC
about
scene.
Bubba's fat ass climbing a ladder just never really appealed to me. I know he's been in the matches, but...
Right.
And Devon with his heights issue, I'm just throwing that out there. Just make it tables in a cage.
That's true, because if it's a ladder, what are they fighting for to climb the ladder?
Exactly.
I didn't think about
the
that.
Dudleys are the things in the table match.
True.
Bottom line.
And then you have the mess of a MMA exhibition.
Yeah.
Angle and Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett, I love you. When I was getting into wrestling, everyone started calling me Double J because JJ, Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Right.
And back then, I didn't really like it because I'm like, this dude's a tool.
Yeah.
Fuck Jeff Jarrett.
Let's see. 98, he went from being a decent heel in WCW in 97. Came back in late 97 and said, I'm not going to be a cowboy anymore. I'm not going to be this anymore. I'm just going to be Jeff Jarrett. Within 6 months, he's back singing with Tennessee Lee as his agent. Throwing that out there. So for him to,
And then he's getting his head shaved by freaking Howard Finkel
at SummerSlam.
And then he's with Owen Hart. Greatest thing he did in that ring. Just throwing that out there.
Toward the end.
But
in TNA,
Jarrett, you're not a mixed martial artist, dude. No. You have a figure 4 leg lock that hardly makes you a submission expert.
But yet Ric Flair is one of the greatest submission wrestlers of all time, according to WWE.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but he's been doing that for years.
True.
While we're on the title picture, though, the TNA Knockouts Tag team
was not defended Sunday night.
It wasn't.
But it's now in the hands of Angelina Love and one of our favorite people in the world, Winter, Katie
Immortal.
Katrine Winter, whatever the hell her name is.
Love Katie.
Katie is
WWE
awesome.
totally missed the boat
They
with
messed
her.
that up. And I like the fact that the beautiful people are still a unit, but Velvet's off doing her thing with Sarita, trying to get revenge, all that, and Angelina is, well, being stalked, but it's still a great team because Angelina and Winter are awesome.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and
Brings
then
us to the world title.
Yes, the world title was contested toward the end of the pay-per-view, but first we had to decide, okay, who's the number one contender? And Anderson pulled it out, man. I got to give Anderson props, pulling out over Matt Morgan. Somewhat, I mean, cleanly guaranteed. TNA, there's no such thing as a clean win anymore.
Yeah,
but Anderson pulled it off, and Bischoff thought he would swag out there and, okay, you get your title shot right now. Here comes Jeff.
I know our cameraman Aaron here is not the biggest fan of Green Bay, Wisconsin, but that just means that the Packers and Anderson both came up strong.
That's right.
On Sunday.
I guarantee.
Once again, I'm throwing that out there.
I guarantee Ken's going to go out and make sure he gets a Mr. Anderson jersey made up and wear it on Impact tonight or tomorrow, whenever they tape that, whenever that's going to be. That's going to be awesome. And we forgot to mention one other person, one of your favorite people in wrestling, debuted on Sunday night against my favorite wrestler of all time, or one of them.
V1 is
and
now
Matt
officially in TNA.
Now, is his name Matt Hardy, or is it Matt Reeks, or is it Tyler Hardy, or how is that
I don't know.
working?
I've heard about that. Matt Hardy now rocking the dreadlocks a la Tyler Rex. I haven't seen the pictures or the video yet, but Matt, dude, wash your hair. That's all I'm doing.
Seriously, between Matt's dreads and Jeff's, whatever you want to call Jeff's haircut, makes me glad I got less every day.
Right?
Yeah, that's just bad. Anyway, that's where TNA is going into the beginning of 2011. Every title has changed hands now. Everyone has changed hands. The Knockouts Tag toward the end. The only one that still keeps holding strong is Madison, which, matter of time. Matter of time.
Where do you want to see TNA go in the next couple months?
Keep going. Keep making things happen. If Fortune and Immortal are going to be the dominant faction, then let them dominate. But, like you said, chink in the armor. Anderson just drove a huge divot into the armor of Immortal the other night. So, let's just see how they react. Will Bischoff come out on Impact and go, well, I told you guys all the titles, so Jeff, out of here. Or will Bischoff go, okay, Hardy failed as a world champion for us, put Matt and Jeff back together, push that. Maybe they'll say, well, Beer Money, maybe they'll take your opinion. Well, Beer Money, you've been champions a minute. Just go ahead and give the belts to the Hardys. Beer Money will go, no. And then one of them will turn babyface. Maybe Beer Money will have enough of this crap and go, you know what? We've been your bitches long enough.
So you're kind of thinking that Immortal may do kind of what Nexus did a few months back, where Wade Barrett ordered Otunga and Cena to drop the belts to Slater and Gabriel.
And Beer Money, unlike Otunga, will actually grow a set and go, no. And the trimming of the fat will happen, maybe like Nexus did. We'll see what happens. If they're interesting, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think that TNA, for all its flaws, and let's admit there's a ton of them.
Yes.
For all of TNA's flaws, I think that last night was a stepping stone in the right direction.
Definitely.
You have quite possibly the greatest faction ever. Bold statement, I know, but
true.
Quite possibly the greatest faction ever on your show right now, in the fact that it's basically the New World Order and the Four Horsemen together.
Right.
Granted, they're knockoffs. It's not the Horsemen. It's not the NWO. But it is the closest thing that TNA has to them right now. And you've got them together. Make it successful. Don't drop the ball the way WCW and TNA always has in the past.
Exactly. And also, speaking of dropping balls, the next show will be about a state of a company that, quite frankly, should not be dropping balls at this point. Even though they don't have any serious competition, they're doing it anyway. But World Wrestling Entertainment, the former Wrestling Federation. Check that out next time. He's JJ Williams.
He's Jeff Meacham.
And this is Dad's on Wrestling.